in India, there is Dvait, Advait, many branches are there. But what I understood, I will just like to say about that. There are three basic philosophies in India, according to me, and all others are sub-philosophies of that. One is the philosophy of yoga, and one is the philosophy of Tantra, and one is the philosophy of Bhakti. Bhakti means devotion. All religion things, they comes under devotion. So we talk about yoga. Yoga was created 10,000 years ago. But around 6,000, 7,000 years ago, Maharishi Patanjali wrote a book. It is a book on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And this Patanjali Yoga Sutra describes what yoga is and how does it goes, and which has 8 steps, which goes with yama and niyama, but I'm not going to detail of it. What I want to say that overall what yoga says, what yogic philosophy says, if you want to be free from something, don't do it. Just don't do it. And you just need to renounce yourself from the world. You just need to draw back your senses into your body. You don't need to use them for any kind of pleasure outside. So this is like, if a water falls on a ground, it makes a trash, and if you make again the waterfall, it will make again follow the same old path. So our brain works on patterns. So yoga belief that don't create patterns, don't do something so this trash is not made. And yoga is almost impossible to practice without following yama and niyama, which is very hard part, because I don't think so that I never met somebody in my life who is practicing yama and niyama. Not met in my 40 years of spiritual life experience. I'm meeting the monks from the age of 10, and I'm almost close to 50. So in 40 years of spiritual life experience, I never met even a single one in the world. In monks, I met in monk in Himalayas, but in the world who is practicing yama and niyama. According to the Patanjali, till you don't complete yama, you cannot go to niyama. And when you not complete niyama, you cannot go to asana. But everybody in West go directly to asana. They forgot about yama and niyama. So it will be just a physical gymnastic, nothing more deeper to that. One more drawback with the yoga is that either you want or you don't want, you will become a monk. You will be alone all your life. This is understanding which you have to make if you want to go on a path of yoga, because yoga was created to make you monk. When you go and live alone in the caves, in the forest, you should not miss anybody, you should not miss the world. So it was to inert your senses so you feel complete inside you. I am not saying that with yoga you will become sad, but with yoga you cannot be in a family. It will be very difficult and almost impossible. Some people will say that, okay, I have seen some people who are practicing, some women who are practicing yoga, but still they have family. Look at their men, they are full of feminine energy. There is no manhood. You will never find a woman with a strong man. You will find a woman who is practicing yoga always with soft and like a wavy man with a high women energy, because there it's possible to connect. But yoga itself increase masculine energy. There is thousands of experiments made by yoga. When you practice yoga, after you check your hormones, always testosterone is high, always. And if you want to be a man, go ahead, do it. I am not stopping you. It's not none of my business. It's your life. You need to make a decision about it. But when you go and practice yoga, you need to be prepared for it. Otherwise, if you are not prepared, what will happen? And the depression will fall. And that's why in West it's happening, like yoga is leading to depression. Otherwise, yoga leads to enlightenment, not to depression. Second thing is Tantra. Tantra says that if you want to do something, get involved and do it, but consciously be aware Consciously be aware about what you are doing. Don't close up your senses and do. Don't do it in ignorance. Don't do in closing your eyes. Like, your conscious awareness should be there for the things. So, and the third is the bhakti. Bhakti is all religions, like either is Islam, Jew, or Christianity, or Hinduism, or whatever religion is there on the name of religion, they all comes under bhakti, because bhakti is a path where you surrender to a higher entity. You believe that there is some higher entity and you surrender to it. But there is no God in yoga, there is no God in tantra. So, and in tantra, all practices are to take you beyond the morality. This is very important, that if you have moral barriers very strong, then I think tantra is not for you. Because if you're not ready to break your moral barriers, tantra can give you a lot of pain. Tantra can give you a lot of problems. So if you are not ready to work with your moral barriers, if you're not ready to let them go, better don't turn your face towards tantra. Otherwise it will lead you to depression again and to lot of pains. But if you're ready to work with yourself, if you're ready to grow up, if you're ready to cross this world barrier of morality, then tantra is your way. Go in this way, learn, practice, and get liberated.